Welcome to ZERT's Information Highway for all you members on the road or on the run. The mission of this podcast is to relay relevant information from training guns and gear to mindset, motivation, and self-preservation from subject matter experts. So sit back, open your mind, crank the volume, and for more information, log on to ZERTnation.com. And a big shout out to our sponsors, Primary Weapon Systems, PWS.
What's going on, ZERT Nation? XP001 here. I'd like to thank you for joining us for our fourth podcast. Today, once again, we have Special Operations Instructor Mr. X. He'll start off with, he's waving right now, but he doesn't realize it's just an audio interview. Start off with his background, and basically what we're going to talk about today is, for a lot of you guys that are interested in competitive shooting, we just started the ZERT Competitive Series private Facebook page, and I'm working on some national match stuff, but we're going to talk about the 2017 Barry's Still Open that Mr. X just shot this last weekend out at the Southern Utah Practical Shooters Range, which is an awesome facility. I was out there training with TPC last month. Great place. So, Mr. X, thanks for joining us again.
Happy to be here.
All right. So, like I said, give us some of these new viewers a quick introduction of your background, and let's get to this Barry's Still Open match.
20 years in the military, served in the Marines, for those of you that don't know, from there. 4 years in the Marines, 16 years in the Army. Never shot a gun until I joined the Marine Corps. Wow. So parents didn't let me shoot, and pretty much hooked ever since. And it's become quite not only how I make money now that I'm out of the military, but it's become quite the hobby. And got into a little gunsmithing and this and that, working at a gun store locally. Worked for ZERT, and of course, and even got into a little bit of reloading, working for a reloading manufacturer here in Las Vegas. But I like guns, I like tactics, I like bullets, so it seemed only, the natural progression. After I got out of the military, I really wish I would have got started shooting in competitions before I got out of the military, but it's one of those things where, you're shooting 3-4 times a week, and I know a lot of units don't get that chance, but me being in units, Ranger Battalion and Special Forces, we did shoot a lot. We shot every week, so to go out and shoot on weekends
was work.
Yeah, it really wasn't that appealing since we're shooting so much. But I learned, especially coming out here, started getting into competitions before I left Fort Bragg. Had a couple local, started really getting into 3-gun shooting. And now that I've come out to Las Vegas, there's a lot of pistol competitions out here, whether it's USPSA, a lot of 3-gun competitions out here too, but there's tons of USPSA and idpa matches. And whenever I first started, of course, I'm drawn to shooting an AR, so I ended up getting into 3-gun, but the more I started to get shooting pistol competitions, the more that passion, when I go down to the supermarket or from here to, there, I don't carry a shotgun and a, rifle all the time, but I almost always have a pistol on me, whether I open carry or concealed carry. So because of that, I kind of want to fine tune my skills a little bit with pistol. The more I started getting involved with pistol matches, and it seems like here in Las Vegas, every weekend there's a pistol match. And they do a great job in 3-gun matches here, but I've kind of got, I don't want to say I got the 3-gun thing down, but I've been shooting a rifle for 20 years. Only been really dissecting pistol shooting since 2008. And I learned that's something that I've got to work on a lot more, so I've really been focusing on shooting pistol.
Okay.
And there's a lot of, like I said, pistol matches here in Las Vegas. As you know, I just got picked up on a shooting team here. And before I go back to 3-gun, I hate to use the word perfect my pistol shooting, but I know my pistol shooting needs a lot more work. So once I get to the point where I'm happy with my pistol shooting, I plan on going back over to 3-gun eventually. Okay. But yeah.
And also too, guys, a lot of you guys that are tactical shooters, or, there's always this big debate between tactical shooting, competitive shooting, and they're like, competitive shooting, it's a game. Yeah, it's a fucking game, man. And it's a fun game, and it gets you out, gets you shooting, you know, and it's, you know, the pro timer, the clock, and your hits on the target in the stage don't lie. That really shows you where you stand, and the strategies. And a lot of people say, you know, well, you know, those type of tactics will get you killed in the real world. Well, if you're not smart enough to separate the two, then you probably shouldn't be doing a job that your life depends on carrying a gun. That's just in my opinion.
Yeah, just because I don't hide behind cover in a USPSA match doesn't mean that I'm going to forget that if somebody's shooting at me. You know, it's like, oh man, I'm moving to the left. Oh shoot, somebody's shooting at me. I'm just going to stand here. No, believe me, when rounds start whizzing by you, you're going to seek cover. You don't forget to be able to, or you don't forget how to shoot tactically. And like you were saying, there's a lot of people that frown upon competition shooting because it's not tactical. Well, back whenever I served in Ranger Battalion and as a Green Beret, it's funny. At the end of every day on the range, you know, you're shooting all day. At the end of every day, you go out and you do a stress shoot where you're pretty much competing against everybody else in your platoon, in your company. And it's for bragging rights. Everybody wants to come in first place. And that's why you trained up for that. And, you know, you wanted to beat your platoon sergeants. The privates wanted to beat their team leaders. The team leaders wanted to beat their squad leaders. Squad leaders wanted to compete, you know, wanted to beat their platoon sergeants. And it was for bragging rights. But guess what? That was a competition against everybody. You went out, you shot as fast as you could, as accurately as you could, and that's what competition shooting is all about. To go out there and learn how to shoot faster and how to shoot more accurate. And since I got out of the military without those stress shoots, well, when can I go out there and do that stuff? In competitions. And that's what I like about competitions is it pushes you to be faster, it pushes you to be more accurate. And there's a lot of guys that shoot out here in Las Vegas that have their, you know, there's police officers that shoot with their rigs on.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, well, if I'm shooting with, you know, at work, this is the rig I shoot with, this is how I need to go out here and compete. And they're not worried about shooting against the open shooters, you know, because it's a whole different class. They're just working on being better, being faster than they were last week or the week before.
And that's the big thing, guys. When me and Mr. X were actually talking about that today is, you know, running your own race. For a lot of you guys that are listening that have known me years pre-ZERT.
You got a ginger ale for this?
Oh, fuck, we'll get to that in a second. You know, I used to go up to show up to the two-gun matches in a tracksuit and AK. You know, I was working overseas at the time in between Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia, Pakistan area. And I would come back, and just because I was deployed or working on programs doesn't mean I got to shot out there. Yeah, I was, you know, carrying a gun, but it doesn't mean I was able to practice or be proficient. So when I came back, I'd wear the same shit, and all these guys were like, who the fuck's this clown? You know, just laughing. But, you know, I was holding my own, running a, you know, iron sight AK, you know, my Glock, but I didn't really care about what anyone else was thinking because I was there for myself, you know, working out my gear. Because normally if I went to the range and I had my rig and all my shit, I would do what I was good at because it made me feel good. Going to a competitive match gave me an opportunity to shoot on the move, dramatic target transitions, and had to really fucking think about, you know, the match itself. So it forced me to run my gear at a subconscious level. And I think, you know, most of you guys are like, oh, competition shooting. Well, most of the guys are probably intimidated because they're going to go and probably get their ass handed to them, which, hey, man, you know, we all do. And I think it's just...
There's only one guy that wins in the match every week.
Yeah.
You ain't first or last.
That's right. That's right, Ricky Bobby. But no, guys, really take that into consideration, man. You know, run your own race. Don't worry about anyone else. Ask questions. And just do your own thing, dude. You know, don't worry about what everyone else is thinking or, you know. You all right there?
Yeah. It's funny you should say that is I am a firm believer in iron sights. And this past weekend at the Barry Steel Open plug, there was a ton of people. I mean, the majority of the shooters, my entire squad that I shot with had optics on their rifles or pistols. And you guys are like, hey, this is a pistol match. Well, there's a new division that's called PCC. What's it called?
You had it up.
Darn it, yeah. It's called PCC. And it's
carbine,
rifles.
yeah.
Pistol caliber carbine.
There you go.
And there are rifles that shoot 9mm. Well, every one of those, and it's actually bringing a lot of attention to the sport, because for those of you that don't shoot pistols, hey man, you can grab a PCC. You can grab a rifle, convert it to 9mm, or I'm looking at a thing online here earlier, and it's basically an upper that attaches to your Glock, a lower, $400, and you can shoot 9mm out of a pistol caliber carbine. It's pretty cool. But
all right, we had a little hiccup, so continue.
How long have I not been talking here?
So you were talking about the pistol caliber carbines.
Yeah, we got a group of shooters, and a couple of the guys that competed last year in the Berries Still Open said that there were only like 8 or 9 PCC rifles out there, and I think they had 100 this year. Whoa. So it's starting to catch on, and these guys are winning matches, and it's great. And it's just one of those things to draw more attention to the sport. I've got a trunk gun, in my car, and we all know it's that much easier to shoot a rifle than it is to shoot a pistol, because you got that, the buttstock and the shoulder. You get 2 hands on that sucker, and you've got that length. You might as well use it. But it's bringing that much more attention to the sport, and guys and girls are having fun, and it's a blast. But like I was saying, I was the only guy in the squad with iron sights, just because that's what I use on a daily basis. I don't have an optic on my gun. I don't use, I don't shoot open. I don't want to have to deal with the battery going out, and some of these open guns are running $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. And, man, that's a pretty nice car payment for me. And, until Z.E.R.T goes all in with the full-fledged sponsorship, buying all my guns and everything.
Listen to this.
I'll stick with my 1911. But, yeah, some guys have some ridiculous stuff, but it's truly amazing to see these guys that shoot open in PCC, what these firearms can do and how well these people can perform. I mean, it's eye-opening. These guys, I mean, it's like Olympic athletes out here with firearms. And to watch these guys go through these stages and just fit everything together, moving and shooting, and how quick you can actually become, makes you feel like, holy cow, man, I'm an amateur. I'm a beginner at this stuff. So it's really entertaining, and yeah, that's about it.
Well, so let's talk about this Berry Still Open match. I know it was 4 days, but you got to choose to shoot, the 2 days. So it was just all an entire still match for 2 days.
Entire still match. It's actually 3 matches. It was 3 matches in one, believe it or not. I can't remember the number of stages. It's up there around 20 stages. Even though it was a 4-day match, you're either squadded to shoot on Thursday and Friday or Saturday and Sunday. So I shot on Saturday and Sunday, shot with a couple local shooters here from Las Vegas that I always shoot with, and we shot with a squad from Boise, Idaho.
Ooh.
So these guys were studs. I'll end up giving these guys a plug a little later, but just unbelievable shooters. It's, like I said, all steel. They actually had 3 different types of matches within this one match. So 3 different disciplines, which is an eye-opener for me, because I didn't even realize these 3 different disciplines existed. They were, part of it was a dynamic steel match, then there was a scramble match, and then steel challenge match. I shot the steel challenge before out in California, and a couple of the guys that I had on my squad were actually National Steel Challenge champions.
Oh, shit.
These guys were, Steel Challenge has its own little classification of, going through, Delta, Charlie, Bravo, Alpha shooters the whole way up to into Master and Grandmaster. And then these disciplines, they had the same thing, just like USPSA. So these Steel Challenge shooters were literally mowing down stages. And what a Steel Challenge is, they'll have 5 different plate racks set up at different distances, different sizes, and you have 5 opportunities to shoot off the pro timer these 5 plate racks. And, you can do it anywhere between, a good average time is probably 4 or 5 seconds, depending. But these guys are literally from the draw shooting these stages in around 2 seconds. So my draw time to get on a 6-inch steel plate out at 15 yards is about 2 seconds, and they're shooting the entire stage in 2 seconds. So the cool thing is, is it tactical? Absolutely. These guys know what the stages are. They practice these stages over and over and over again to be it's muscle memory. I mean, by the time it takes me to get my gun on target, they're literally engaging the last target. And it's extremely fun to watch. And you sit there and you really learn how fast people can actually be with these PCCs and with these open guns. And one of the guys that was shooting this weekend, I mean, like I said, nationally ranked, I asked him, I was like, do you think you can hit all 5 of these targets? You've done this drill so many times with your eyes closed. He's like, honestly, based on muscle memory, I could probably keep my eyes closed for the first 4. Then I would have to open my eyes for the stop plate. You can shoot them any order you want, but you have to hit a stop plate, every time. And, I mean, just to see the level of competition, and it's just a blast to sit back and watch.
No, it's a great opportunity.
Extremely entertaining.
And guys, when we talk about national champs or grandmasters, for some of you guys listening that are new to the competitive world, there's CBA, Master, and Grandmaster, right?
Yes.
So when we talk about Grandmaster, guys, that's a whole nother level. So that's like, to be able to get squatted and shoot with GMs in our realm would be like you football fans going to a football game, a touch football game out at the park, and there's 4 or 5 NFL pro guys on your team.
Yeah, so you're Tom Brady's the quarterback.
Yeah, so it's a big deal, and it's a great learning experience because when we talk about training, in a sense, where guys are like, well, I don't need to go any more courses. I need something more advanced. The bottom line is that me and Mr. S were talking about earlier, for a lot of you guys know there's been a big change in me personally in the last 10, 11 months because I've hired a business coach. I got a life coach to help me understand my goals and put systems in place to make me a more effective person, owning 3 companies, and just even running ZERT in a whole, right? I don't know what I don't know, and so I figured out what my weaknesses are, helped them implement me on those, and then really magnify my strengths. With shooting, coaching, anything, doesn't matter. We're just like, you always need a mentor. It doesn't matter how good you are. That's why I like going out and shooting with Paul or Mr. X, because when we get out there, we push, and I always learn something from him every time we go out. And if you're not always training or out there with someone better than you, pushing you, it's going to be tough for you to break past that plateau, and you always should be fucking learning 100%.
Well, that was the coolest thing about, and I'm not a real big fan of shooting the steel challenge. I'm not, just because, quote unquote, it's not tactical and this and that, but I'm not good at it. There are other competitions that I am better at that, and we all want to go out and do something that we're good at.
Yeah.
But I do have the mentality that I do shoot these matches because I'm not good at them, just because it does make me a better shooter. It does get me to focus on my draw time and my transition times and stuff like that. The biggest thing that just sucked with Barry Steel Open was I'm shooting with all these PCC and open guys that are blazing through these because they got optics on their guns. I got iron sights. I want to go as fast as them, but just like my coach said a couple weeks ago, it's like, man, shoot at your speed. Know your limitations. As soon as you start going too fast and you miss targets, it's going to cost you time in the long run.
Yeah.
So just, there were certain stages that I shot my speed. I felt great about them. Other stages that I tried to pick it up because I've got all these pros shooting that I'm shooting with. It's like, I can pick it up here. I start missing. It's like, you know what? Time to go back down to my speed, and it's that little reality check. Is when you guys go to these competitions, don't get aggravated because you're not shooting as fast as certain people. Don't compete against them. When I go out, I'll sit here and tell you right now, Mr. Blue is fast. And there's some matches that I beat him, some matches that I don't. But I don't focus on beating him. I focus on beating the me of last week. Try to improve my hits, and we'll get into this later, getting no misses or no deltas, no misses whenever you're shooting at paper. But there were certain stages that when that pro timer went off, I was focused on, I'm not getting any misses this stage. And I should have probably shot the entire match like that, which, hey, it's a growing experience. You're learning from stage to stage. And as long as I'm learning, you know what? I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting faster. I'm getting more accurate. And that's what I'm trying to get out of those matches.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me when I go to the match is I try to have a carefree attitude, but the A type, or I maybe consider myself a super A type, because I get super competitive. And I see you guys going, I go, fuck, man, I have to get it on. I have to get it on.
Yeah, well, that's just human nature, and that's good every now and then. But it's good to also come back down to reality. And local matches around here we use to mess up. I shoot a local match, and I'm just like, you know what? If I screw up this stage, no big deal. It's a local match. Who cares? But, especially being a sponsored shooter now, when I wear the jersey with my sponsors and I go, we've got matches here in, it's SUPS, which is Southern Utah
practical
shooting
range.
When I go there, I represent my brand and my sponsor. So I want to go out and perform well. We've got matches in Mesquite, in Kingman, Arizona. So we're always traveling. We're always going out there. And I have to, when I wear my ZERT jersey, I'm promoting ZERT. So can't have a bad attitude and stomp off the range. And I can't, in competition shooting, you're either pasting paper targets or you're setting up steel targets. I don't want to be that guy that just sits back there and, in the corner and talks the whole time and doesn't set up targets.
And I got to say that. So if you're a competitive guy and you're that fucking dick that doesn't ever tape or support, man, hey, the key thing is when you go out to the range, if everyone puts in their effort, helps tape and reset still, the faster it goes along, the faster you can get out of there. Because I've been to some matches where that's till fucking 3-4 o'clock, and hey, man, I love to go shoot on the weekends, but I don't want it to fucking eat up my whole day. So,
exactly.
Be part of that process of helping and being part of the process of speeding along that match and helping out. And you're absolutely right. You represent your brand. And I like to use that word brand because I think a big thing that's happening in the industry, which we've seen over Shotshow this last year, is the drop of shooting teams. Because, in reality, I think there's a lot of people that ruined it for the industry where, oh, hey, I'm a sponsor, send me 12 guns, send me this and that. And what's the return on investment? If you're a dude out there that doesn't voice yourself on social media and you're just wearing their logo on their jersey, you're not really doing your sponsors, your brand any good, because they need content. Social media content is king, especially on social media. So a lot of you guys, and I'm giving away the secret sauce here because I want to see the industry grow. I don't want to see it die, and that's what's happening because a lot of the bigger sponsors are not seeing a return on their investment. So those are going to die off, and it's going to hurt the matches. It's going to hurt the industry, as a whole. So.
Well, that's what's cool about PCC also, pistol caliber carbine, is it's kind of reviving that interest because there's a lot of rifle shooters out there that don't shoot pistols, and there's not a lot of rifle-only matches, so it's definitely opening up. There's a lot of pistol shooters that aren't that good, so they're like, well, how do I compete? Hey, I'm going to grab a rifle, and they're actually doing really well because they're rifle shooters. And there's a lot of pistol shooters that are good too. Let me throw that out there, that just converted to rifle because, hey, it's fun, and if it's good for the industry, then we're all about it. But I talked about Steel Challenge. There was also two different other matches that went on, or other form. The one was Scramble. So the Scramble was awesome. Not really for me because I'm so stinking slow shooting with iron sights. But the Scramble stages were all part-time. So they would put 49 targets out there and you'd only have like 20 seconds to shoot them. So you're just trying to shoot as many targets as possible before the part-time finished. But it was just unbelievable to me that there were people out there, there were shooters out there that could get every target before that part-time was over. And there's certain stages that went really well. I would get really close. And to be honest, it was the stages that the propeller plate rack, my coach and I went out to the range on Friday. Shout out to Pete, great coach. But we went out to the range on Friday and worked on the propeller plate rack. And when we got to that target, I was one of the only ones in my squad full of pros. Number one, because they're trying to shoot it so fast that they kept missing. And anytime you miss, you got to go back. It takes time. And I went up and I knew my pace. I knew my cadence. I cleared it, and I ended up getting like 23 out of 29, I think. That was really close, especially for shooting limited. Wow. And guys were coming up to me, and they were like, dude, you put an optic on that gun? I was like, no, I just know how to shoot that. So every stage had some type of moving steel target. They had this, thanks to our good buddy that used to live down here, Rawson, who, shout out to him. He let me spend the night at his plate. Had an open couch there, so it was pretty awesome, not having to worry about a hotel room. And but he had a stage that had the Death Star, and the Death Star is basically a Texas star that's on a hinge, and when you shoot a dropper, it sets this thing off, so you have a swinging Texas star. So I ended up shooting one plate off that Texas Star and was just like, this thing's swinging so fast, I don't have a chance. Well, if you don't shoot a target, it's a 3-second delay. And I'm like, it's going to take me longer than 12 seconds to shoot all these, so I'll just take the 12-second delay or 12-second time penalty. But, that was an eye-opener. But there's 12, 13-year-old, shooters out there that are demolishing this Death Star, and it's just fun to watch. And it's great experience and definitely an eye opener just to sit there and try to figure out how to shoot this thing. And my technique didn't work. Learn from that, drive on, and I'm looking forward to the next time I shoot that. Right. But the Scrambler was the second set of stages, and then they had the typical dynamic stages where you just move from point A to point B, shooting all the steel. And they take your time at the end, and some of their stages I did well. Some of them I could have improved, and it's all about training and learning and getting better at shooting steel. And, it's some of these stages, it's a big plate right in front of you. You shoot these suckers as fast as possible. And then other ones, there's a 3-inch plate at 15, 20 yards where you literally have to slow down, lick your finger, wipe off your front sight post, and take a well-aimed shot. But that's what these matches are all about. And, it's a great time and lessons learned.
Guys, too, also for, a lot of you guys, there is a lot of really good flat-range static shooters out there. I consider myself one. I can shoot flat, fast, and accurate on the flat range. But when you start implementing, 180 transitions, steel plates. Oh, am I saying that?
Yeah, that's cool, though.
So we have a little secret thing between me and Mr. X on saying and we're trying to catch each other on it, But the key thing is the strategy behind it. If you guys like to play chess, you like to play games or strategy games, this is it, because you really got to put a strategy in place because every second counts. And your footing to target arrays, it's a big challenge, guys. So, I don't mean to kind of like ramble on, but I want you guys, if you haven't shot a match, if you're on the ZERT pages, reach out, see what ZERT members out there are shooting matches, team up with them so you have a friendly face or someone that can walk you through to make sure you don't get DQ'd or before you even start the match. There are certain rules. There's very strict rules on the match, and that's due to safety. But the key thing is, guys, is Ron Avery had a good quote here. Make your mistakes without fear, right? So if you go up to a match and they call you and you're the first guy to shoot in front of like 60 dudes, that's going to induce a little stress. It's going to make you nervous because everyone wants to perform. They don't want to fail, but fail without fear, guys. It's going to happen, and learn from it.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. I got a big shout out to, I'm going to go ahead and throw this plug in here. I don't think their ZERT members are probably not watching this, but if we got any ZERT members up in Idaho.
We do. We got a good crew out there.
Good. Out of Boise, there's a gun store up there called Hawktech Arms, and the owner is Dan Hawkins. And like I said, when it comes to Steel Challenge, he's probably one of the best in the world.
Wow.
And he's got a team. They're called Team Hawktech. And Mike O'Leary and those guys are just phenomenal shooters. They treated me amazing for being the most cheeriest dude on the squad. And they're all looking at me like, dude, we can hook you up with a price break for an optic. I'm like, I like iron sights. You're never going to talk me into it. It is what it is. But that whole team was phenomenal. Ken Nelson and the guys that ran the competition up there. Rawson is from Las Vegas. We got to get him to teach a couple of ZERT classes in the future if we can. But all the guys at at SUPs were great. We had B.A. Baracus up there.
What?
I was hanging out with him all weekend.
Shit. Big shout out to Jeffrey, man.
And great, not only a great ZERT instructor, but a great competition shooter.
Yeah.
So we were hanging out. He did a great job. He helped him out with the competition. He also shot it. I think he placed like one or two positions in front of me. It's all good. I'm coming for you, Jeffrey. But I mean, just a great community. And the coolest thing about competition shooting is, and I thought about this the second day whenever I was freezing my rear end off because I didn't plan ahead and take enough snivel gear. Lessons learned. I was talking to Bobby downstairs and Kylie is, I've got this Harley Davidson, touring bike that I always keep snivel gear in, rain gear, and I go the whole way up to St. George thinking the weather report was correct. Then I'm up there wearing a t-shirt and a lightweight rain jacket, and everybody's in like snivel level 18 with their cold weather gear. And I was like, you know what? Always be prepared. I got a car now, and in the back of my car, I got a first aid kit. I've got water. I've got chow, but I don't have a jacket and gloves and stuff. So just
dude, you didn't pull out a space blanket.
Common sense. And I could have went to Walmart and got a piece of gear, and I was like, you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment and lessons learned. And I thought it was supposed to be nice the second day. It rained on us and it was 50 degrees. So it was what it was. But as I'm sitting there freezing my day off or my rear end off the second day, I'm sitting here looking at the shooting competition and people with, I mean, you got a guy that has only been shooting competitions for maybe less than 2 years now with these grandmasters squatted up. And with these professional shooters in it, and it really, the family that I have, and I'm Facebook friends with all these guys now, and this short amount of time, it's like a brotherhood, it's like a family, and I've just established this relationship with these guys up in Boise, Idaho. That, I mean, it could be a lifelong relationship. I'm pretty sure that when we go and shoot Area 1, up in SUPs a couple weeks, USPSA Area 1. Regionals, I'm going to link up with them. We're going to go out to eat. And it just reminded me of ZERT, stop saying, that family. And it's just really cool. And it just reminded me of me going to Pennsylvania and Michigan and Missouri and Texas here in a couple weeks and establish those relationships. And you know what? Not everybody is a grandmaster. Not everybody's a, tactical expert, but it doesn't matter. It's like I was talking about a couple weeks with the whole ZERT thing. I don't think ZERT is like-minded individuals. At this competition this weekend, we had a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and they all came together to get together and learn and shoot and have fun and get better and show their expertise or to teach somebody their expertise. I had a 13-year-old junior shooter that came over to me and was like, hey, you want to learn anything? And I'm looking at him like, yeah, sure. He helped me improve my draw stroke. He's like, this will make you draw faster. This will get you to a sub-second draw. This guy was a steel limited master. Certified master at 13 years old. And just, it's like, why would I not take that experience from him? You know what? I've been shooting tactical shooting for 20 years. If you ever came to me for tactical lessons, I would be there. But this guy is a professional shooter since the age of 5. This has always been doing. I've got a combat draw stroke. He's got a competition draw stroke. Why would I not? If this could help me draw a gun faster, and I've got a pretty good draw. I've got a pretty fast draw. It can be faster. Yeah. So why would I? And I talked about this on the video that I did and put it on Facebook a couple days ago. If I can do a drill in 2 seconds, well, that's not. Is that my standard? Have I achieved greatness? No, my next focus is to do it in 1.9 seconds, then 1.8, and then 1.7, 1.6. We should always be striving to get faster. I've heard it from you before. It's not about the destination; it's about the journey. Yep. And the journey is, hey, well, what's your goal this year? Well, my goal is to become a USPSA master. Well, does it end there? No, it doesn't end there. At that point, my goal is to become a grandmaster. And then my goal is to mentor and teach somebody else to get to that point, as a coach or as a mentor, so on and so on. So we should always strive to become better than we are. And that's, I can't just sit here on all this knowledge and experience as a tactical shooter. I want to get better. It's like that whole reference as I'm either, if you're no longer an action guy, well, what are you? You're a former action guy. I don't want to be a fag, a former action guy. So, quote that acronym. But, you still want to go out there and perform better, get better, because, nowadays, yeah, I want to be a grandmaster eventually someday, but in essence, I shoot guns to, save my own life or the lives of people around me that I love and respect and that I care for. So that's what drives me to become better, and competition shooting helps me do that.
Yeah, and the key thing is, guys, is that if you're like, competition shooting, once again, tactical shooting, the bottom line is, in a tactical realm or deadly force encounter, it's how fast you kill the bad guy. So if you have a super sub-second fast draw versus a 1.7 tactical draw, what do you think is going to win, right?
The person who hits the other guy first. Doesn't matter what type of draw you have. Some of these guys have a super fast draw, but they're not hitting that first shot, and they got to keep going back to hit that steel plate. And it doesn't matter how fast your draw is if you can't engage that target. So, speed kills. And that's good and bad. I could be extremely fast, but speed kills if I don't hit that target because I'm going to die. Or I could be extremely fast and accurate, and speed kills because I'm taking out that target before that target takes out me. So you have to find that happy median between speed and accuracy. And competition shooting helps you do that.
Yeah. Just remember, guys, reach out, find a local match, look into it. There's IDPA, USPSA, there's 3-gun, there's 2 guns, there's hybrids of matches.
There's a new there's going to be a new series coming out here. It's going to start in Las Vegas, but it's going to go worldwide, national-wide at first. And Pete Wrestling out here at in Las Vegas, iScope. He's starting a new series, brand new target, brand new format, and hopefully it's going to take over the world. So
all right.
Stay tuned for that, and I'm looking forward to it, even though it means I got to dust off my long gun and start shooting ARs again pretty soon to prep for it.
Okay, well, hey guys, for those of you that sat through this entire podcast, which was a long one, we're over 30 minutes. It doesn't matter if you're a competitive shooter now, tactical shooters. What I talk about is 2 things today. I talk about the 60-30 and the 10%. So when you go to a match and you learn something, 60% of it, you're like, hey, that's cool. 30% of it, like, hey, I love. The 10% is the key thing. I got this from Tim Ferriss, which is the 10% of what you learn. If you absorb 100% of something, all that really matters is the 10% that you're retaining and implementing on a daily basis. We talk business, macro, micro, right? Macro is the big picture. Macro of becoming, hey, I want to become a master class shooter. I want to become a grandmaster. Well, to figure out what your macro, your end goal is, you have to systemize your micro, which is putting systems in place or strategies and aligning your daily choices to those strategies to accomplish those goals. Those micros, those small strategies should be low-hanging fruit, which means that, hey, for this week, I'm going to try to get my draw consistently at 1 second. Get a pro timer and practice 5, 10, 15 minutes a day before or after. Make time, guys. 10 minutes a day of applying something matters. It really does. And what I've talked about it before is, when you wake up and that alarm goes off and you hit that alarm, and you sleep for 10 more minutes, then you get up, 10 minutes. And I use this 10-minute rule is because when I started ZERT, when I first came up with the inception of ZERT and started implementing it, I implemented 10 minutes every day for about 6 to 7 months to build the foundation of an organization with the goal, my macro at that time was 100 members. Because I knew if I had 100 members in Las Vegas, that was the end goal. I had 100 dudes to go shoot with. And at any given time, out of that 100, I just needed 15 guys to host a class or run a class. That was it. That was my goal. Now, obviously, and what I did was, hey, to achieve my organization of that, I had to spend 10 minutes every morning. It took me 6 months because I was working a full-time job, but I got there. So 10 minutes is important. I talked about today, it's like, hey, if getting up is hard, put your fucking alarm clock in the corner of your room so when it goes off, you have to physically get out of fucking bed, walk over there and shut it off. A trick that I learned from this meditation technique is, as far as I need coffee or whatever to get going, when you wake up and you're struggling, give yourself 3 huge deep breaths, hold it, and let it out. What you're doing is you're pumping oxygen in your brain, which is holding your breath is causing your heart to pump, which is causing your blood to flow. So those are quick things, real quick, to get the blood flowing, to get you fucking out of bed and get you working on those strategies. So that's my inspirational tip. Mr. X, anything?
Yeah, I want to do one more shout out real quick, and it's to all the ZERT members out there, man. I really appreciate you guys, and believe it or not, I'm learning just as much off you guys as you learn from me. I posted a video late last week, and one of the drills I've been working on, and you guys might have seen it. It's going to be, I do a little 5 or 10 minute thing, a video that we're going to hopefully post pretty soon on Mr. X's Weekend Wisdom, and basically do a quick drill that's got a 2-second par time. And after you make sure to make sure that your gun's loaded, I basically draw my handgun, dry fire into a target, make sure I got good sight picture. Then I do a reload, really quick reload, extend it back out to full extension, and you don't get that trigger break on the second one because you already pulled the trigger the first one. It has nothing to do with slide lock or anything. You basically pull the trigger on the second one. You do all this within 2 seconds. And I do this drill all the time. I've gotten pretty good at it. You're going to see in the ZERT video that I do 5 consecutive ones without any editing. But I posted it on my Facebook just because I did it at a gun store and a guy took a video of it without me knowing. He sent it to me. I was like, this is pretty cool. I'll post it.
It was. Throw
the drill out there, and the amount of feedback that I got from that has been amazing. And not just to pump my ego or anything, just the people that are sending me in a message or posted on that clip that they're trying it.
Yeah.
And and I'm not saying that they fail, because even in the thing, it's like, dude, don't be focused on that 2-second par time. If you can do it in 5 seconds, that's great. Get it to 5 seconds, do it consecutive, 10, 20 times consecutive, then you should be working on 4.5 seconds, then 4 seconds, then 3.5, and then 3. This isn't about being as fast as Mr. X. It's being as fast as you were, faster than you were yesterday. Always improving, always training. And I got to tell you, man, it has been motivating the crap out of me to not only watch you guys get better. And I'm going to do a shout out to Michael Pryor in PA. I think he's from Ohio, but he's taken every ZERT PA class. To sit there and watch this dude get better from month to month has just been freaking motivating. And he's just an example of one of the many ZERT students you guys are studs. And you don't let anything stand in your way. These obstacles. I will sit there at a competition and complain about me being 80% disabled and how bad my freaking knees hurt and my feet and this and that. And then I watch you guys go out there and freaking work through the suck that we put you guys through as instructors. And you don't complain, you have a blast, you joke around, and it just motivates the hell out of me. And continue driving on and doing everything that you do, because, yeah, I thoroughly enjoy teaching and instructing for ZERT, and going out there and hanging out with the students that I have already met and meeting new students. And the word brother in our community, give me a second, isn't a word that I throw around lightly. The guys that I deploy with, that I've thrown a little lead downrange with is, yeah, that that word means a lot. But it's a different type of meeting because there's a lot, 99, 100% of my ZERT family I've never been deployed overseas with and seen combat. But you guys are definitely brothers and sisters in a different sense. And I really take a lot of pride in being a member of this ZERT family and learning just as much from you guys as you guys learn from me. So I do appreciate that. And shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate the videos and the feedback and everything. So I want to start, I'm sitting here, talked about this with XP001, doing another Facebook page like Mr. X competition shooter. And
don't write Fred shit.
Yeah.
I mean, blue. Oh.
But you know what? If I learn this stuff and I sit on it, there's no excuse for that. I become a better shooter. I got to pass that knowledge and that experience to you guys. And if I got a drill or if I've got a bad habit, I've got plenty of bad habits from the military, and I've learned a lot from my coach and going out and doing drills with Aaron. And he went up and took that great class from SUPS a couple weeks ago, and we went out to the range a couple days later, and he showed me the stuff he learned. And man, that's more tools for my toolbox. So if I can pass those tools on to you, with Facebook videos, and I would be a crappy instructor if I, and mentor or whatever I am or whatever you guys consider me. I would just be a piece of crap if I didn't pass that knowledge and that experience on to you guys. I do that in classes. You guys pay for it. But if I can sit there and show you guys the stuff on Facebook videos, short clips, and you guys can work on it, that's going to better prepare you for that class that you're going to take. So then we can go out and learn cooler stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing, guys. It's...
Holy cow!
Yeah, I go.
XP001 is at a loss of words. Yeah, how often does that happen?
He's going. It's the key thing is when we talk about. I'm actually gonna start an individual fan page from ZERT, wanting to talk Mr. X and do the same thing. Guys are like, what do you guys egomaniacs? What do you got? Just want all the glory? No, dude. We're both very blessed in a sense. Mr. X is retired. We keep him busy. A few other guys keep him busy. I got ZERT Nation. I got 2 of the companies that I work for on top of that. But the key thing is taking you guys on our journey. Hey, this is what we're experiencing. This is our shortfall. This is what we want to share for you. A lot of guys that have to make money off of their individual brand to sell you on it is, hey, that's cool, man. You got to do what you got to do. But we have the opportunity to take people on the journey, support our sponsors, give them more exposure on the product that we're using, and most importantly, giving you guys knowledge, giving you guys tips to be better people, better shooters, and like I always say, that process, being part of the process of being prepared, prepared and trained society, guys. That's a big difference, and it's not about egos, man. It's not about, hey, go to my page and look at me doing this. No, I want you guys to go along the process. We're going to show you drills. We're going to show you what we have to go through to make it happen. Because the key thing is I'm a big fan of Jerry Vanderchuck or Tim Ferriss, the Tools of Titan. Tim Ferriss, people love interviewing the guy because he has so much knowledge, and he has so much knowledge is because he's interviewed hundreds of billionaires, icons, world-class performers, and basically dissected their habits, what they do on a daily basis, and compiled them into a manual. So if you guys have the opportunity, get the Tools of Titan. It's a great book, and it will help you when people talk about, oh, I need to, I got to find myself and find my meaning. No, you got to create yourself. What do you want to be? How do you want to do it? Create a plan and fucking execute it, And it's one of those things where it's twofold, where guys go, well, think about it. When we were growing up, if we were bad at something and good at one thing, what would we do? Our parents focused on the thing that we're bad. Well, honestly, now I'm trying to focus on the things that I'm really good at, so I can excel on that and chip away at the things that I'm bad. You know, because I can get farther with the things that I'm better at as an adult, as a business owner, and leverage that to make my life, you know, better on a daily basis, and make time for those weaknesses. And a lot of times, like for me, from a business standpoint, you know, those weaknesses maybe have to be allocated, because it's going to take me too long to relearn those, and that time lost is not going to get me to achieve those goals. Sorry, that was a fucking...
No, man, you motivated the heck out of me.
He's doing push-ups right now, just so you know. But hey, guys, thank you for listening to our longest podcast.
How long is this?
Well, this one's 40 and we screwed up, so we're probably almost at 45 minutes.
Holy smoke, man! Yeah, play this thing.
We might have to cut it in two parts.
When you're in the shower. Well, okay, maybe not. Play this thing when you're driving to work or something. Yeah,
when you're shaving your legs in the shower, guys.
Yeah, guys and girls.
Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. More to come. I'm XP001 and
Mr. X. Out.
Oh, yeah, he's going to fucking push me over. Later, guys.
Mission is to support law-abiding citizens taking their skills to the next level. We provide training opportunities and a wealth of knowledge via ZERT's global network of like-minded individuals. Each ZERT member can take it as far as they wish to go. You can take part in ZERT training, ZERT online training, network with individuals in your area via the forums or private Facebook pages, attend meet and greets in your state or county, or have fun collecting the unique gear ZERT has to offer. We have members from all walks of life, and our emphasis is on creating a safe, fun, and mature community for all involved. When you think of ZERT, consider the term lifestyle. Lifestyle can denote the interests, opinions, behaviors, and behavioral orientations of an individual, group, or culture. By definition, ZERT is a lifestyle. ZERT's instructor cadre is made up of Special Forces instructors who use their vast knowledge and real-world experience to teach civilian members. ZERT's goal is to elevate the level of education and safety in the training industry. ZERT is not just an organization. It's a lifestyle. ZERTnation.com